or as close as somebody who's as old as I am can get to
Somehow it's
be.
always a surprise still. After 9 seasons, it's still a surprise.
We should do outtakes. Right now they're not all that funny, but maybe we can. Maybe that's a stress reliever there. But anyway, all of you out there, welcome. You and I were just on. Dieter is a new homeowner as of what, a month ago, something like that, or a little
Yeah,
more.
yeah,
And
month and a half.
and when I was at one point in my life, I had a real estate broker's license, and the guy that was teaching the class said, "You know what pride of ownership is? That's all those expenses that you never anticipated." So I guess if anybody's got any expertise about wells out there, you can.
Yeah, DM me if you know stuff about being on a well, then
Yeah. Do you have like how much acreage do you have around the house?
um it's two, but it's managed by the conservation authority.
Oh,
So
okay. So that's why they have wells, because otherwise, usually you don't have that kind
yeah.
of stuff. So, okay, well, that'll help for anybody who's got well drilling stress out there. So,
Yeah,
welcome
instead of
everybody.
going up, we're going down.
Yeah, exactly. And this is tonight. We got I think, kind of a cool thing. I've tried to, we got a meme going here, and that meme is we touch the surface on Tuesday, the three classes or the three flight typical shows during the month, and it kind of leads up to our monthly live group coaching session, which always used to be on the third Tuesday, or third Thursday. But lately, I've had some conflicts and stuff, so it's ended up on the last Thursday. So that might just become the thing here as we move forward here. But whatever. Tonight, we're going to talk about two very real stress points for anxious travelers, and one of them is what do you do if panic shows up on a flight? And so many of you are worried about that. And another one, maybe not so much stress for you, but if you're like me, or maybe you do have stress when you get to the airport. And I got there last weekend at Phoenix, my home drone down here, and I saw this sign right next to TSA PreCheck. It says TSA touchless ID. So I said, "What the heck is that?" So I went up there, stood in the line, and only to learn that I wasn't qualified. But anyway, we're going to talk about that tonight. What is TSA touchless ID? So it doesn't confound you when you're moving through security there. And we'll also preview our upcoming classes. We got 3 classes coming up, and tonight's all about calm information and practical steps, and reminding you that you're not in this alone. It's not exactly like me pushing you out into the machine gun nest, but it is to let you know that we are here to support you. So with that, let
And you
me
have an entire community
yeah.
and our Birds of a Feather group that you can reach out to. Prior to every flight, there are people who are all too happy to support you and track you and cheer you on. So if you haven't done that, definitely take advantage of it.
Yeah. So, did I press the right buttons, Dieter? Is it looking like
Yes,
we're on track?
yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so like I said, tonight's all about calm information and practical steps, and reminding you that you're not alone. Um, Before we jump in, we got some polls again. I love polls, and I don't know why I haven't been doing them more, but I'd love to get a quick sense of the room. So, what feels like the biggest source of flight anxiety for you right now? And if you look at the slide up there, we'll use our format that we did last week. Dieter didn't have time to put those in the
Yeah.
chat, but I'll leave them up.
If you share the PowerPoint with me, I can copy and
It
paste
is.
them
It's
because
it's
that.
down in Teams. It's
Oh,
down in
it's in
Teams.
Teams? Okay, perfect. Then I'll get it
So
from
anyway,
there.
so this is the first one. Just put your answer in chat. A is panic or feeling overwhelmed on the plane. B is turbulence, takeoff, or loss of control. C, the airport process of getting through security. Or D, just general anticipatory anxiety before you even get to the airport maybe, or certainly before you get off the ground. Okay, so just take a look at those, and give us an idea of which one is the biggest source of flight anxiety for you, generally speaking.
I'm just letting you know, Ron, that you didn't. If you intended to put in Teams chat, it's not there, and if you intended to put it in
Oh,
the Zoom chat, it's not there either. So,
okay.
but if you're live, you can still answer, and I will do my best afterwards to put them into chat as well.
Yeah, I'm showing it here.
Now,
Uh,
yeah, but you need to share it.
maybe you have to hit the send
There it
button.
is. Ah, yes, that always helps. Got it.
You're so picky, Dieter. You you guys out there listening, you have no idea what you know. It's like Dieter with me and all this automation is like him being around a 3-year-old with a gun. So he keeps me from shooting myself half the time and shooting him the other half. So it's never a dull moment. So talk about hazardous to
True.
be paid.
All
Anyway,
in support
yeah,
of you guys. So there you go.
yeah. So I wasn't half lying. It was in Teams, just not in your end of it. So anyway, okay, all right. So we'll move on to that, and Dieter can give us some ideas as we move forward here, what people are saying. So this slide's a bridge from to the substance of the show. So again, here's what we're going to talk about tonight. Talk about panic attacks on a flight. What happens when you get it, when you feel that fear starting to crawl up your spine? And second, we are going to break down the TSA's new touchless ID in plain English, so you know what to expect when you see the signs like I did last week and didn't have a clue as to what it meant. And third, we're going to talk about our upcoming clever takeoff opportunities in Phoenix, online, and in Los Angeles. We're really excited about going back to Air Hollywood on April 18th. And finally, of course, we'll leave room for questions and give you some things to do with the polls there. So because the questions are really the best part for us, because that's where we feel we get the opportunity to provide you with the most meaningful support. Okay, here's another one. So before the panic attack, okay? So if panic starts rising on a flight, what feels hardest to you in that moment? Is it the physical sensations, like your heart starts racing, your breathing speeds up, maybe dizziness, lightheaded, maybe you get sweaty. I remember a couple of times that I've been sick in an airplane. The top of me was boiling and the bottom of me was freezing, and it was crazy. Or is it B, feeling trapped and not being able to leave? Or is it C, fear of losing control or embarrassing yourself? And maybe embarrassing yourself. And then D, not knowing what to do once the spiral begins. So A, the physical sensations, B, feeling trapped and can't get out of there, C, fear of losing control and or embarrassing yourself, and D, not knowing what to do once the spiral begins. All right. So let's talk about panic. Okay, this is the heart of the reassurance part tonight. So if panic shows up on a flight, it feels intense, and Pete, we misinterpret that intensity. It's not the same thing as danger. Just because you feel the intensity of your emotions, it doesn't mean you're in danger. And I think that's the single worst feeling that people have that causes them to kind of like lose it all. And a panic attack is your alarm system firing hard. It's just firing at the wrong time. It's not proof that the airplane's unsafe, and it's not proof that you can't handle the flight. It does not mean that you are not going to be able to handle it. And that is, as you've heard me say, that's probably 85% of the people that come to me now or come to us at FearlessFlight is they're more worried about them losing control than they are the pilots of the airplane losing control. So the steps that are listed up here just touch the surface here. These are the things that you want to take a look at when you feel panic coming on. Okay, you want to name what's happening. Hey, this is my fear. Hey, this is my panic. Hey, this is whatever. And then you want to focus, slow your exhale, slow your breathing. And specifically, I talk about slowing the exhale because the exhale is what's connected to your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the prime part of your autonomic nervous system that's designed to help you calm down. And then something called ground the body. Okay. Literally put your feet on the floor, put your hands on the armrest if you're in the airplane, and find something to focus on visually and just ground yourself as in simply, here I am in the airplane. Everything is okay. I may not feel like it's okay, but everything is okay. And then the fifth step there, stop treating the sensations as a catastrophe. So be careful about those spiraling emotions, how they trigger you into think that one, something's going to happen bad to the airplane, or two, something's going to happen bad to you. May be as simple as embarrassing yourself, but that's not comforting at that point in time. And then the last thing is accept support if needed. Okay, so the tone that people use, or I would use around people, and you want to use it towards yourself, is to be compassionate but confident. And we're not trying to promise you that you're not going to feel fear. In fact, I tell people your next flight, despite all of the things that most people do to prepare, you're probably going to have anxiety. And the goal is not to get rid of the anxiety, at least in the short term. The goal is to weather the anxiety. And we're teaching you what to do when fear appears. And success is not never feeling anxious. Success is staying with yourself and using your tools to stay present. Okay. Quick show of hands through this poll. Okay, you can literally show hands, or you can pick one of these. Did you already know what TSA touchless ID means? I just want to see how far I am behind the world out there. Capt Ron should be in the lead.
I put it up in the as a poll question as well.
Okay.
Just to kind of get you caught up on our poll question. What's your biggest source of flight anxiety? If there was such a, I'd say D, and so general anticipatory anxiety.
Okay, that was the first one, Peter.
Yeah, that was the first poll question.
Let me go
So
back.
I'd say most people
Okay.
chose a combination, and D was definitely part of it. Most of the time.
And they're all in there for many people at some point or other, but so it may be of less.
And the people that did answer that last one about the touchless, doesn't seem like people know about it. I didn't know about it either.
Me either. I normally am not that surprised, but yeah, when I got there. So okay, let me settle my slides down here. So okay. So there it is there. Yeah, I understand why. I've heard of the phrase, but not really. And this is completely new to me. I was in the completely new to me. And also they threw me off guard because at the particular concourse that I was going out in Phoenix, they switched the TSA pre-check around. So it was on the other side. And I think it was to facilitate the TSA touchless ID. So here's what it is. This should help demystify the TSA language. The goal that the TSA said is to lower uncertainty. Actually, I think it was to be able to deal with our government shutdown and the fact that the TSA is not getting paid and they're having trouble staffing a lot of the things. Doesn't matter. The people, I just checked with a couple of people who went through there, and they said it was really slick. But sometimes when you hear words like biometric and facial comparison and touchless ID, and a lot of the airplanes have the clear service now, which is yet another way to go through security. You can imagine that it's easy for that stuff, that anxiety, to dribble over into your flight anxiety. So plain English version is what we're talking about. So it has, if you look at the 4 points on the left there, it's eligible only for TSA pre-check. So you got to be pre-checked beforehand, all right? And then it requires a participating airline setup. So any airline that you intend to fly on, you got to go into their website. And I'm guessing it's like the pre-check itself, where you had to put in your known traveler ID, and then it's stored with that, and it will probably. I didn't have a chance. The next time I fly, coming up here in about 10 days, is I'll get a chance to check it. You put, I'm guessing it'll show up on your boarding pass like the TSA pre-check does. It uses facial comparison at participating checkpoints, and I've kind of gotten a clue of this because the last few times I've flown, there are places they don't look at your boarding pass at all. And some of them, I swear, all we did was take a picture. So it'll be interesting to compare the two. But this uses facial comparison, and it's voluntary. You don't have to do this. I can't imagine not doing it if you're TSA, because there was no line in front of the touchless ID station there. The important point is touchless ID may make the checkpoint smoother. I'd say for sure it's smoother. But it doesn't remove your choices. If you don't want to do it, for whatever reason, you don't feel comfortable going through there. Like I said, I can't imagine why not, because it's just the least amount of hassle. It's almost like the good old days 50, 60 years ago, when you could walk to the gate from the parking lot without having anything to go through in security. So, and there it is. Those 3 steps here. One is you opt in. You have to be in TSA pre-check to start with, and you have to activate it through your participating airline that you're flying on. 2, it's a face scan. So all you got to do is look at the camera, and then 3, you proceed through identity with a lot less friction than you would otherwise. Okay, so that's the touchless ID. Okay, there's another one. As you listen tonight, we want to help you think about your next step. And so let's just look at the formats that we use at FearlessFlight and find one that if it was available to you, which format would help you the most right now? Would it be an in-person class in Phoenix or coming up in LA there? B, an online webinar you can join from home? C, an in-person class in LA, and obviously you got to be in LA or Phoenix to participate in those. Or more free content before I commit. Who wants more free stuff out there before they take the plunge? Okay. And we're going to talk in just a minute about that. And maybe just broaden these in a larger, maybe what I should have done, probably I should have put, an online webinar would count our monthly live group coaching webinars, and also coming up our free monthly webinars that I do on a Sunday every month. So, okay, I don't know where. And did we get any poll numbers from the one that said before the panic attack segment there?
Oh, number 2? Yes.
Yeah, number 2.
Yeah. So let me just double check here.
So those are the symptoms: physical sensations, feeling trapped.
Yeah, so B and D tend to be the
Bravo and Delta. Okay.
All of them were present, but B and D seem to be the most.
Yeah, again, not surprising. If people could master those, I'm sure a lot fewer people would be okay.
And
okay.
Oliver we'll get to it, but it's April 18th, Saturday, April 18th, 10 to 1. And yes, it's in person. So, but.
And funny you should mention that, because here
we'll get to it right up.
Yeah. Okay. So, and so the previous poll was just talking about what's best for you, what works best for you, in person, online, or more free stuff before you get there. So, on April 4th, we have not had them in February and March, but in April 4th, we will resume my monthly free in-person class at the Phoenix airport. And so if you're anywhere near Phoenix on April 4th and you can get there, 6 to 8 p.m., we actually get an airplane to climb all over on Southwest. So please consider joining us there. Then, for those people who can't come to the 101 basic class there, and because you're somewhere else in the world, you can have access to very similar information. Obviously, it won't be in an airplane, but on April 5th, the morning following April 4th, Sunday morning, and these times are all in Pacific time. So you add 3 hours for the East Coast, and if you're somewhere in between, you adjust it accordingly. So April 4th in Phoenix on a Southwest airplane. April 5th in your jammies, wherever you can turn on your Zoom. And then April 18th, if you are anywhere near LA and particularly Valencia, up to the north of the Burbank Airport, about a half hour, I think, we're going to have our really special class over at Air Hollywood there from 10 a.m. in the morning on a Saturday to 1 p.m. And it's a lot of fun. Everybody raves about that. I wish we could take that on the road. The owner of Air Hollywood does actually have a semi, an 18-wheeler that he has that he farms out to various movie studios around the country. And we've been talking about trying to connect with him in cities around the country, but that's down the road a ways yet. So, okay. And as I said, all those times are Pacific times. Okay. Whoops. This kind of got garbled. I forgot to my automated thing didn't work out, but this is a little bit of a story. And let's see, I think I was trying to print this out, but there's a story behind this. So last week I did a VIP class with a young man in Cleveland who's going to be our guest next week. He hadn't flown in several years. He had a terrible bad experience. Really suffers from the anxiety, anticipatory anxiety, and particularly from takeoff. Not worrying about the takeoff, the airplane crash or anything, but just the feelings start to surge. He feels all those heady sensations, and it makes him want to get out of there. Well, so I flew back to Cleveland last Wednesday, got up on Thursday, met with him, flew with him and his fiance to Chicago Midway. They were planning a trip, and he just said, hey, I'd love this. Is the first time I've been back in the air in a long time. And if any way that we could get together. So we made it. So it was affordable, and which is available to anybody out there. You just got to do is ask me. So this is a longer story, but we got to Midway, just a huge success. He was feeling great. We stopped to take some pictures so I could share those with him later, and just picked a row of chairs that you can see here with the little handicap thing in the one picture. And I didn't want to have, I got this shoulder strap thing that I put my wallet in, so in my phone and all that, and I laid it down there, and we took the pictures, parted company. So then I got to walk another mile to the gate, and just before I got to the gate, I stopped, bought a bottle of water, and I used Apple ID. So I had my phone in my hand, which kind of replaced having it in the pouch. And then it dawned on me, oh my God, I left the doggone bag back there a mile ago. So I'm huffing and puffing in a ball of sweat. 10 minutes later, I get back there. Sure enough, it looked just like it does there. Not a sign of my wallet or not. So I went from feeling really good to feeling really bummed. But I kind of, in the moment, I said, so be it. You got to get your butt all the way down to the gate, another mile, and get to the gate so you can get on the flight back to Phoenix, because it was the last boat out of town. And on the way there, I ran into I saw a guy from Southwest. He had the orange vest on, and I stopped him, and he pointed out a police station up there, went in there, filled out the information, told him about it, said, probably not going to do it. But I said, I'm kind of a positive person, so it's going to be okay. Well, her partner came up, and he had one of those three-wheeled mall vehicles, and he says, I'll go give it a look. And he went back, didn't see it the first time, and then he checked again. And I'm almost to the gate again, finally. and I get a call, says, you're not gonna believe this, but we found your pouch there with your wallet and everything. So I had my own little experience with the roller coaster because I was bummed because I mean I had everything in there, as you can well imagine, passport and everything. And when he went back there, he came back and he with his lights flashing. It's kind of like the mall cop movie. And he came up. He's really nice, and he said, he said normally when this happens, I don't. He says my expectations are low, and I don't really get into it. But he said you mentioned how you were a positive person, all that. And he said that kind of motivated me. So we went back there and he gave it an extra look. And sure enough, it had slipped down on the, if you see my mouse, it had slipped down back in here, dropped out. And when he went back, there were 4 people sitting around there. So he had to work at it. So anyway, what does that have to do with Fearless Flight? I don't know, but I might have ended it all if I hadn't got all that stuff back there. So anyway. Okay, we'll bring this up. Any comments on the poll number 4, if you want there, and
Yeah, in person and group flights are definitely
yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. So
sure. So we want to always remind you of our Birds of a Feather. If you're not a member, it's a private community for anybody out there who's maybe just getting started in this. And it's you join up with people who aren't doing it perfectly. They're just being honest about it. And it's a place where you don't have to explain yourself or tough it out, because people understand what's going on and they get you because they've either been through it or they're in a similar place in their journey. It's a great place to share your experiences, encourage one another, and get some practical tools and ideas. Have people monitor you. That's a popular thing out there. And just to have somebody pat you on the back and say, reassure you that you can do that. So it's where insight meets support, and it's where you can get answers to your question that people have, and that is, what do I do next? So okay, so I touched on it. On Thursday, April 26th at 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern, we're going to have this month's live group coaching webinar.
So there's already a do you mean to say March 26th or April 26th?
If I said March, if I said April, I meant I meant March. And I see the slides.
Because on the slide it says April, so that's why I just wanted to.
Yeah, thanks.
To confirm.
Good catch. Good catch. I don't know.
I'll put it in the chat as
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I can't change it. It's embedded there. So anyway.
But it is the 26th, so that's correct.
It is the 26th of March. That is the correct day, just the wrong month. So and it's fear shows up fast on a plane for people. And people, they, as much as bless their hearts, you all want to have your anxiety go away, but it's going to show up until you get some experience and some exposure under your belt. And calming it down feels harder than it should sometimes. So in this month, we're going to expand on what we talked about tonight. What do you do when it comes up? I had a 6-step process there. We're going to expand those. We're going to have some activities. Going to have some NeuroSync custom guided visualizations that you can download. And it's to help you get through those moments when your anxiety feels loud and calm feels as far away as you can imagine. So once again, it's teaching you how to work with your nervous system. Stay grounded in the moment and build the confidence that you need to get into the air. So again, join us Thursday, March 26th, 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 Eastern. So come on out and join us, and we'll go in a much deeper dive. So, okay. Let's see that.
Yeah. Oliver said, good story, and it shows that attitude is everything. And
it really is. Yeah.
And if it's not everything, it certainly is a lot.
Yeah, it was that night. And there's another quick part to it. So I get back to the gate. We're waiting to board for Phoenix. By that time, they were showing up. and I was in the wrong line, not surprising. And people were going by me, and we got to about 5 people from the end. And this really nice woman said, "Hey, why don't you just jump in?" And I said, "No, that's okay. I'll just jump in line at the end." And she insisted, so I jumped in there. And I said, "Well, that's believe it, I really welcome that tonight, because about 15 minutes ago, I was about ready to jump off of the jetway rather than down onto the airplane." And she said, "Oh, why is that?" So I explained to her that and how I got there and all that. And I know more and said I was here flying with somebody who was afraid to fly. And she said, "Oh my God, I'm terrified." And so we talked going down the jetway. Her husband was there, and he was kind of laughing. And it turns out she was sitting right behind me. So I couldn't, I needed Dieter. I couldn't get the harmonizer off of my iPhone and get it onto hers. And so I just gave her my iPhone, and she listened to it a little bit. And she was I invited her to come on the show, and she was all excited about that. They were coming to Phoenix. Spring training is out here, as many of you might know. Major League Baseball plays all their spring training games down here. And she had a daughter who was engaged to one of the ball players. So I asked her, "Are you a baseball fan?" And she said, "I am now," by virtue
You
of
are
her daughter.
now.
She was all excited, and she might have lost my card or whatever, and I didn't want to bother her any further than that. But anyway, so that was a perfect ending to a perfect night. And
There you go.
I actually had one other thing with a little kid that ended up swapping seats, but it was a really great experience, as it usually is. Flying with people is the most fun thing I do. I got another one. I haven't even told Peter. I got another person we're going to fly on Saturday, March 28th. Escort him back east from California there. So keep taking the next step. That's what it's all about. One step at a time, one flight at a time, and you get better from staying with yourself, learning about tools, learning how to use them, and proving that you can get through it. And Dieter and I want to thank you for being here tonight, and uh, we look forward every week to you joining us here. It's really what we live for. So, and I don't mean to understate that. It's the most fulfilling thing I've ever done. So, any closing comments or questions or anything?
No, I just want to say thank you for participating in the polls, because it you know, one, it gives us feedback, but two, a lot of people watch these episodes down the
Replay.
road. And so seeing other people um having the courage and just participate, I always come back to, and I think, Ron, when we first really started to evaluating the data and seeing the pattern that most people on average wait 10 years before they
Yeah.
reach out for help. I mean, that is a long time to be
Yeah.
suffering. And so, your courage, your participation, that's already helping other people when they're watching the videos and watching the replays. And so thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks again to you. We'll see you again next week for another episode of Fearless Flight Live. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week. Bye bye.